Hello and welcome back to another AutoCAD beginners course tutorial. Today in our second series we are going to cover the modify tools inside of AutoCAD, which we can find here in the ribbon in the modify tools panel. In our first series we covered all the drawing tools inside of AutoCAD. If you are interested in that tutorial, I will keep a link in the description below. So let's start with our first modify tool, which is the move command. Use it to move objects around. So, to do so, I want to change the location of this triangle. Select the object, hit the move commands icon, and then, as you see, we have a glowing color around our object, which means it's highlighted. Now, specify a reference point and move the object to the desired location. Right-click to release once you are satisfied with the location. Now, there's also other ways to choose the move command. I have this triangle in this square. I want to place this triangle exactly into this square here. I know this is 2 units and this is 3 units, so in total I have 5 units. So, select the triangle, left-click on the move command icon, then specify a reference point, and then move your mouse to the right side and type 5 units on your keyboard, enter. And as you see, we have perfectly moved our triangle from the first square to the second square. We can also do so in another way. Select your object, move command, left-click on it to activate it. Now, specify the reference point, click, specify the desired location point, left-click again to release. So, in this way, we move objects around inside of AutoCAD. Let's go to our second modify tool, which is the copy command. Select your object or objects which we want to copy, hit left-click on the copy commands icon. Now, specify a reference point and click, left-click, and left-click to continue to copy the object. Once you are satisfied with the number of copies, hit space on your keyboard to release the command or exit the command. Now, again we have a triangle inside of a square. I want to perfectly copy this triangle into this square, not move it, but copy it. To do so, select the object, left-click on it, left-click on the copy command. Now, specify the reference point, move your object, and then we know it's exactly 5 units. On your keyboard, type 5, enter, and then spacebar to exit. And so, 2 units by 3 units makes in total 5 units. I copied the triangle perfectly into the next square. We can also, again, select the object, hit the copy command, specify the reference point and the reference point of the object we want to copy to. Left-click, spacebar to exit the command. In this way, we copied our objects. Let's move on to our next command. The stretch command, which is used to change the object's size, increase or decrease much faster. So for that purpose, we have here this window, which is 2 units. Activate the stretch command, click on it. Now, create a selection window from right to left. Make sure you have selected all the end vertices of the object which you want to select. Now, press spacebar to continue the command, and as you see, it tells us specify base point. I want to choose this point. Now, if we move to right or to left, you can see we change the size of the object. I want to increase its size by 2 units. Type on the keyboard 2, enter. Now, to decrease the size, the same process, stretch command, select the end vertices of the object you want to stretch, spacebar, specify base point. Here, move to the left side and type 1, enter. So, there's also another way to use the stretch command. Again, activate the stretch command by clicking on it. Select or make sure you include the end vertices of the object in the selection window. Press spacebar. Now, specify a reference point and then move your object. Align it to the end of the previous object, and as you see, these guidelines appear. Click, and so we were able to stretch our object. If these green guidelines or the snaps on your AutoCAD are not appearing, you can simply activate them by going down and here find this icon, which is the object snap. Make sure it has a light blue color around it. Click on this cursor and make sure you have checked all the object snaps of AutoCAD. Let's continue to our next command, which is the rotate command. To rotate any object, select it. Now, hit the rotate command, specify base point, the base point of rotation, and now we are allowed to rotate by moving our mouse around until we are satisfied with the rotation angle. We can also rotate within specific angles. To do so, select the object, make sure it's all included in the window selection, hit the rotate command, specify the base point, and now, while the rotate command is activated, specify the angle you want to rotate to. I want to rotate in 45 degrees, hit enter. Now, we can also rotate in only 90 degrees. Select the object, go to the rotate command. Now, make sure you have activated ortho mode. This icon is the ortho mode icon, or press F8 on your keyboard. Click on it until it has a light blue color around it. And now we can rotate around a point only in 90 degrees. Okay. Something which is not totally related to our today's tutorial, but very important, I'm sure you will need it a lot in the future, is to rotate by reference. How can I align this square to this square and this square to this square? How to align their lines? We do that with the rotate command, but with rotate by reference. It's a very important way to rotate, and I'm sure you will use it quite a lot in the future. Before I show you how to do that, I want kindly to ask you, if you so far like my tutorial and learned something, please support us by subscribing to our channel. So, let's continue our tutorial. Simply select the square, activate the rotate command, specify a point, the base point of the rotation, and now allow me to deactivate the ortho mode. Now, I want to make sure the lines are exactly aligned, but if I do it randomly, there will always be a small gap. So, while still the rotate command is activated, on your keyboard, press R and then enter. Now, specify the reference angle. Specify the first point, specify the second point, and then align the two rectangles or squares to each other. And as you see, I have perfectly aligned the two squares. One more time, just to make sure that everyone understood it well. Select the square, rotate, specify the base point of the rotation. Now, on your keyboard or here in the command line, hit reference, or you can simply press R, enter. Then first point, second point, and align. That was it for the rotate command. Let's continue without wasting time to the mirror command. As the name suggests, the mirror command allows us to mirror objects. To do so, select the object, mirror, specify the point of mirror line, and specify the second point. Erase source object. I will show you what the difference is. If I hit yes, it will delete the source object. Ctrl Z to go back. But again, select the object, mirror, specify first point of mirror line, specify the second point of the mirror line. Erase source object, no. That's the difference. One more example on mirror command. Select the object, mirror, specify the first point, specify the second point, and so erase source object, no. We get a perfectly mirrored object. Let's continue to our next command, which is the scale command. And here we again I have a very important tip. Even though it's a beginner's course tutorial, but still I want to share with you these tips and tricks because they are very important and use it a lot and will help you a lot in the future. I don't want you to learn these tips very late in your career. I have this door here. The normal way to scale means changing the size of the object with a specific factor. So, as you see, the dimension of this door is 1 unit from this point to this point. So, select the object, choose the scale command, specify base point, the base point of where we want to change the size of the object, and as you see, we can either randomly scale the object and release it by, again, click, okay, or either Ctrl Z to go back. We can scale the object again by selecting it, scaling it by a specific factor. I want this door, which is 1 unit, to be 3 times as big. So simply type 3, enter. Now, I have this door, okay, and I want this door exactly to have a specific dimension without making any calculations of scale factor. So how to scale by reference? Select the door. This is the pro tip, and it's very important and will help you a lot in the future, okay? So, select the object, scale. Now, I want this door to be exactly 7 units or 1.5 units. Yeah, let's say I want this door, which is 0.9 units, the width of it, I want it to be exactly 1.5 without making any calculations of scale factor. Specify the base point. And now, while the scale command is still active, type R, enter for reference. Now, specify reference length from here, the first point, our second point, again click, and then type on your keyboard 1.5, enter. We get a door which is exactly 1.5 units wide. Let's continue to our next command, which is the trim command. A widely used command and very useful while drawing floor plans and cutting out intersections. We have here this shape with a lot of lines intersecting each other. How to cut them out and get a perfect square. So, select the object, make sure everything is included in the window selection that we want to trim out. Activate the trim command by left-clicking on it. Now, cut out, select the lines in order to trim, and remove the extension of the line which are unnecessary. So, we cleaned out its surrounding. Here, we still have something left in order to get a perfectly clean wall of a space. So again, click on it, and I'm already using left click. Left click, left click, left click, and left click. And so we have a perfect rectangle with walls, the space with perfectly clean walls, and we do so with the trim command. Now, we have a couple of commands left, the fillet command. So I have this shape here, and as you see, the lines are not connected. To do so, activate the fillet command, click radius and type 0, enter, and now specify the lines which we want to fillet. To reactivate the previous command, we don't need always to go and click on the fillets command icon. Instead, simply hit spacebar on your keyboard to activate the previous command. Click, click. Again, spacebar, click, click, and again spacebar one more time. And so we have filleted or closed our shape. One more thing, I want my corners to be round, not sharp, not in 90 degrees. To do so, again, we activate the fillet command, and in radius, we type a radius of 1, enter. Now, select your first line, select the second line, and as you see, we were able to create round edges. If this scale is too big, again, fillet command, radius 0.5, enter, and then click the first line, click the second line, and it creates a small roundness of the corners. Now, again, another very important modify command inside of AutoCAD, which is array. We have three types of array, which is array rectangle, array path, and array polar. Array rectangle, simply click on it, on the object which we want to array. Array means, in other words, creating a repetition of an object. So, we select the object and click this arrow here, where it's written array. We have three types of array: array rectangular, path, and polar. We go with rectangular, click on it, and as you see, it creates an array of copies. We can change the number of columns, the number of rows. We can change their distance, in both direction, to height and to width. Okay, after we are done with doing the array, let me do some more. 4 by 4. Okay, simply close the array. If you want to edit it again, click on the array and change for example, I want to change the distance between them, 0.2, too small, 0.6, enter, okay, and this one again, 0.6, and close array, and now we can home, move, and move it back into our frame. Now, array path, select the object which you want to be copied or repeated. Array path allows us to array an object along a shape. If you don't know how to create this curvy line, please go watch our first series of the beginner's course where we are covering all the drawing commands of AutoCAD. Now, as we have selected our object, click this arrow here next to the array command and choose array path. Click on it. Now, as you see, AutoCAD tells us select path curve. So, to select the path curve, this is my path. Click on it, and as you see, we created an array of objects along our path. We can change the distance between them. We can change the number of rows. And even we can change the number of items, 3, 9, or 4, and so on. Or we could simply click and move this arrow here to create more or less arrays. Click again to exit, spacebar to exit the command totally. So array rectangle, array path, and now to array polar, which allows us to create an array around a circle, around the center point. Before I continue to show you how to do array polar, again I would kindly to ask you to support our channel by subscribing, and don't forget to hit the notification button in order not to miss our upcoming tutorials in the AutoCAD Beginners course series. To do array polar, we simply select the object which we want to be arrayed. After we have selected it, again to the array icon, click on this arrow here and choose array polar. And as you see, specify center point of array, or AutoCAD also already tells us what to do next. Click the center point, and as you see, we created an array around a center point with equally divided the distance between each of them. We can change here the number of units to 4 or maybe to 8. We can change the distance between them to 30, to 60, to 100, or let's say 90, and so on. We can change the fill angle 180, and as you see, total circle is a 360 angle, 180 is only half of it. And press space on your keyboard to exit the command. Move tool to move it. Yeah. And let's move to our next command, which is join command. In my previous tutorial, I explained something about line and polyline, where line, anything drawn with line, consists of different lines. They are not joined. I want to join this line with this line. Instead of making two selections, I want it to be selected with one click. To do so, select the two objects, go to the Modify Tools panel and find this arrow, and then this icon here represents the join command. Click on it, and as you see, I merged the two lines into one line. If I click on it, I have to do only one selection in order to select the whole line. Now, to the quite opposite command of it, which is explode. If I click on my shape here, you see it's one box, one shape. I want it to be exploded into different line segments. To do so, click the object, go to the Modifiers tool, and find this icon here, which is the explode command. And as you see, breaks a command object into its component objects. Click on it, and now, if I click on my rectangle, you see it's divided into separate lines. That was it for today's tutorial. We went through most of the AutoCAD drawing tools commands. If you liked what you have seen so far and you learned something, please consider to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification button in order not to miss our upcoming tutorials. Thank you for watching and see you in our next tutorial. Goodbye.